you breaking news. Well, anyway, today, it's all about the shutdown and the showdown, and hopefully it ends tonight. But they're doing a swearing in right now of the Arizona representative that they believe like she's the key to casting a vote to release the Epstein files. So we're gonna go right to her live swearing in. So we're gonna get to that now.
Has concentrated her career on issues associated and advocating for students and supporting families. As she follows her late father's footsteps, and boy, those are some footsteps, especially with those bolo ties. Wow. I have no doubt she will bring to the halls of Congress the same energy that has defined her years of public service. As Dean of the Arizona Congressional Delegation, I wish to congratulate Congresswoman Grijalva and welcome her to the United States House of Representatives. I now yield to my friend from Arizona, Mr. Stanton.
Mr. Speaker, thank you, and thank you to Congressman Gosar, the new Dean of Arizona's state delegation. It has been a minute since we've all been together on the House floor. Looking for Congress
8 weeks
around here. As Dean, Congressman Gosar replaces the late Congressman Raul Grijalva, one of the most impactful leaders in Arizona history. And now, with great pride, I rise today to do something we have waited 50 long days to do, exactly 49 days too long, and that is to introduce our colleague from Arizona, Congresswoman Adelita Grijalva. Since September 23rd, the people of Arizona have been waiting for this day, and the excuses for the delay have changed seemingly daily. First, they said they need an election certificate, though one isn't required. Then they wanted to make sure there was enough pomp and circumstance. Then we were informed about a non-existent Pelosi precedent. At one point, the speaker went on television and said, quote, "Bless her heart, she is representative-elect, she doesn't know how it works around here." Bless his heart, because here's how it should work. Let's call it the Adelita Grijalva precedent. When the American people vote, this chamber respects their will and seats them immediately. Politics should never come into play. Mr. Speaker, Congresswoman Grijalva is a native Tucsonan, the granddaughter of a bracero who came here from Mexico, the youngest woman ever elected to the Tucson Unified School Board, serving 20 years, then a Pima County supervisor fighting for working families, affordable housing, early child education. She brings that same fight to Congress. The people of Arizona's 7th District placed their trust in her, and today that trust is rewarded. And her first act of Congress will be a powerful one. She will be the 218th and final signature on the discharge petition to force the Trump administration to release the Epstein files, delivering long overdue justice and accountability for hundreds of victims abused by rich and powerful men. She is a smart, principled fighter through and through. Mr. Speaker, it is my honor to welcome and introduce to this chamber Congresswoman Adelita Grijalva.
Muchas gracias. Thank you. Muchas gracias. Gracias. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Muchas gracias. Thank you so much. Thank you to my colleague and friend, Congressman Stanton, for that kind introduction, and to the entire Democratic delegation from Arizona and the delegation that stood here with me that has supported me throughout this process. I rise today the proud granddaughter of a bracero, a hardworking Mexican immigrant who came to this country for a better life, and I stand as the proud daughter of a U.S. congressman, a man who spent his entire life fighting for justice, equity, and dignity for the most vulnerable. from working as a vaquero to serving in Congress in just a single generation. That is the promise of this country. That is the America I want to raise my 3 beautiful children in, Adelina, Raul, and Joaquin. Stand up, baby. Look at them. They, along with my amazing husband Sol and my wonderful mama Ramona, are here with me today. Muchas gracias por su apoyo y tu amor. And thank you to la gente of Southern Arizona for making history, electing me the first Latina, the first Chicana from Arizona to ever go to Congress. Este momento es histórico para nuestra comunidad. Es un honor ser la primera latina en representar a Arizona en el Congreso y les aseguro que aunque soy la primera, no será la última. And while we celebrate this moment today, our American promise is under serious threat. Basic freedoms are under attack. Healthcare premiums are skyrocketing. Babies are being ripped away from their parents by masked agents. We can and must do better. What is most concerning is not what this administration has done, but what the majority in this body has failed to do. Hold Trump accountable as a co-equal branch of government that we are. It has been 50 days since the people of Arizona's 7th congressional district elected me to represent them. 50 days that over 800,000 Arizonans have been left without access to the basic services that every constituent deserves. This is an abuse of power. One individual should not be able to unilaterally obstruct the swearing in of a duly elected member of Congress for political reasons. Our democracy only works when everyone has a voice. This includes the millions of people across the country who have experienced violence and exploitation, including Liz Stein and Jessica Michaels, both survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's abuse. They are here in the gallery with us this evening. Thank you for being here. Just this morning, House Democrats released more emails showing that Trump knew more about Epstein's abuses than he previously acknowledged. It's past time for Congress to restore its role as a check and balance on this administration and fight for we, the American people. We need to fight for our immigrant communities and veterans. We need to stand up for our public schools, children, and educators. We need to respect tribal sovereignty in our environment. We need to stand up for LGBTQ plus rights because that's what the American people expect us to do. Fight for them.
Putting everybody together, boy.
That is why I will sign the discharge petition right now to release the Epstein files. Justice cannot wait another day. Adelante, mi gente. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much. I yield back.
English, please.
Under Clause 5 of Rule 20, the chair announces to the House that in light of the administration of the oath of the gentleman from Arizona, the whole number of the House is now 433.
Okay, there should be voting. Okay, they're congratulating her right now, but I expect them to vote on reopening of the government. They had claimed that they were going to swear her in and then they were going to take a vote, and hopefully the vote will pass, because I think the American people have government fatigue at this point and they're ready for the government to reopen. So I'm waiting to see if they're going to cast their votes right now. If not, we're going to move forward and we'll come back to this. You guys, don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment. What did you feel about her speech? And what did you feel about her doing partly in Spanish? You know, I think that some Americans take offense that this is an English-speaking country, and when we hear people speaking another language that we don't understand, I don't know, sometimes it comes off a little offensive. So some people have a problem with that. So that looks like Representative Thune, I believe that's up there. So I think they're still congratulating her. She waited 50 days to be sworn in. I don't even know what was the point of delaying swearing her in, because whatever is supposedly in these Epstein files, whatever in the dark is going to come out in the light. So I doubt very seriously if people can hide what's been going on behind the scenes without them taking some sort of hit, you know. So there's consequences when you're hiding information. So I don't know if people are willing to sacrifice their careers or perhaps receive jail time. So we're going to wait and find out. But right now there's a little war going on inside the Democratic Party, because even though that there are 8 Democrats that decided to cave in and go along with the Republicans at the expense of American people losing health care. And people are saying that, you know, people went through this for 8 weeks for nothing, because nothing was gained except for hardship, suffering, people suffering food insecurities, people, you know, not getting paid, people losing their jobs. So it was like, was it worth it? So now, you know, it's about the shutdown, showdown, you know, so how it's going to end. And I think that there are some Democrats that are still trying to talk the 8 Democrats that have conceded to to cast a no vote. But I really believe that the American people at this point, you have to open the government back up because people are suffering government fatigue. People are tired of the infighting, the blame game. People are tired of suffering. They're tired of not being able to feed their kids. They're tired that everything is woe me, woe my. It's like everything is so negative that people need a light at the end of the tunnel. And it's like, it's too much in-house fighting. So we're going to go and see what they're saying about the in-house fighting that's going on in the Democratic Party, because
Like
they should be rejoicing because they just had the victory, winning a huge election, 3 elections. So it's just amazing that they did cave in because they won the governorship in Virginia and in New Jersey, and they won the mayoral race in New York. So anyway.
Josh Holmes is co-host of the Ruthless podcast, and one of the things that's been the fallout from this is on the Democratic side, the intra-party fighting is well and underway. Ro Khanna is a congressman from California. He thinks it's time for Schumer to go. Watch him here.
We need new, fresh blood. My view is that it should be someone new. Schumer has been there for so many years, and he was effective in the Biden administration. I just don't think that that's the look for the future of the party.
I don't recall, Josh, since you and I have known each other, a push like this to move a leader out in the middle of a congressional session.
No question, the Democratic Civil War is upon us, Dana. And if you had any question about that, consider the Shaheen family, whose matriarch, Senator Mom, is in favor. It was one of the 8 that reopened the government in the United States Senate, broke that Schumer filibuster, and whose daughter is running for Congress, who's fiercely critical of her mom's actions. If political nepotism can't bridge the divide, I'm not sure what can. But Chuck Schumer's the absolute epicenter of this. And you've heard me say this before, Dana. If you're in a party leadership position and you choose to abandon the leadership component of the job in pursuit of the good graces of a radical sort of fringe element within your party, pretty soon you're neither going to have leadership nor the support of anybody in your party. And I think that's where Chuck Schumer finds himself now.
Okay, let's go back October 7th, okay? It's a compilation, 3 different Democrats talking about this, and in part they're talking about leverage. It concludes with this past week on Monday. Watch here.
You reopen the government and we lose our leverage, and they say, well, we want this, we want that. No, there has to be an agreement right now.
I mean, shutdowns are terrible, and of course there will be, families that are going to suffer. We take that responsibility very seriously, but it is one of the few leverage times we have.
I think we actually lose leverage in our fight for Americans now that we have capitulated Donald Trump without any real protections for people's health care or our democracy.
Shows you quite clearly what the strategy was. This was the moment that Democrats felt they could push back against this president after 8 or 9 months of flailing in the political wilderness.
Yeah, we know that there's going to be great hardship amongst the American people, but that's a sacrifice that we are willing to make, us lawmakers. We continue to get paid and close down the government. Leverage, or leverage, as Sheldon Whitehouse likes to say, is what they claim to be trying to obtain, but there was never any leverage to obtain. This was a strategy that never made sense from the very beginning. First of all the Obamacare tax credits, they run out at the end of the year. This was not a September 30 conversation. That's a December conversation to have, and I imagine that they're going to have that now with Majority Leader Thune promising to have that debate on the floor of the United States Senate. But that was a commitment that was made over the summer by the administration. All of this is rudderless. It was about Chuck Schumer's political career, and it was about a bunch of Democrats who couldn't look at the base of their party and say, boy, it's pretty, maybe we should do the responsible thing here. They just couldn't do it, and therefore 42 days of shutdown.
John Fetterman says he does not want to hear from the far left, especially when they are only representing blue areas, and he's got quite a mix. Watch.
I don't need a lecture from whether it's Bernie or the governor in California, because they are representing very deep blue kinds of populations, and a lot of those things were part of the extreme.
And that really is where both parties, in a way, have a problem, and when they try to go to a general election and appealing to the middle.
Yeah, I mean, there was a day and age when the Fettermans of the world were replete in the Democratic Party. Unfortunately, he stands out because he's basically the only one who thinks it's totally irresponsible to make the American people suffer for your ideological partisan goals. In this case, there wasn't any goals at all other than to preserve their own political standing within their party. So, look, I think they've got a real problem. It's going to cascade long beyond this. I think the American people ultimately will see that the fringes of the Democratic Party are now running that party. It's a rudderless ship, and if you want to follow that direction, it goes nowhere good.
Yeah, well, I just want to note yet again, only House Democrats have gone after Schumer. No Democratic senators yet. So watch that story. Thank you, Josh. Nice to see you in Washington. Thank you.
Thank you. Good to see
You
you.
know what? It's sad, like when you listen to them and the way that they talk, they're so stuck on their fighting for their parties that they're not actually fighting for the people of this country. So I'm tired of hearing all the rhetoric. I want the government to reopen. The Americans have suffered enough. Nothing was being accomplished. For one thing, you can't accomplish anything if the Republicans weren't at work. That wasn't helping us. I can say that wasn't helping the American people. At the very least, I could stand with the Republicans if they were there going to work and working it out. Even if you weren't accomplishing anything, then at least you would give us an impression that you care. You can't say you care at home and you're on vacation, but you're getting paid while you have Americans that you're supposed to represent that were put in a position that they didn't ask to be put into. No one asked to go without food stamps. No one asked not to receive 42 million people that relies on the government for food assistance because of food insecurities, that they would be part of a fight. No one saw this coming. I don't think everyday Americans, I don't know if you people in this chat, I didn't see this coming. I had no idea that the government would be closed for almost 50 days, 8 weeks, and that food insecurities would be an issue in the United States of America. If this has happened before in the past, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it has. The government has shut down and people in America were suffering from food insecurities, without it being a war. There's no war going on. So I'm like this. If I am required to show up for work to do my job, I expect if whomever is being paid, show up for work. Even if you're not getting anything done, how are you taking off for 8 weeks? I have a problem with that. I have a real problem with that. I do not expect that out of my elected officials, especially if I voted for you. I expect you to show up and show out. I expect you, if there's a shutdown, then to resolve the issue. You can't resolve a problem if you're not there. There's no way getting around it. So when I hear them continually say, it's a Democratic shutdown, a Democratic shutdown, a Democratic shutdown, it's hard to relate to it when you weren't there. I believe if they were showing up for work and then they were fighting the Democrats and they were in disagreement, then I think that the case would fare better. It would fare better. But it's hard to support that opinion when you're not there. So just because you keep saying you're trying to brainwash people, you keep saying it's the Democrats, it's Schumer shut down, and you got the Democrats saying it's the Republicans shut down, the Republicans, it's Trump shut down, it's Trump's fault. It's always Trump this, Trump that Trump is doing this. So the American people, we're caught in the middle. We're like, should we believe this is what we're doing? Should we believe the Republicans or should we believe the Democrats? And then we're trying to choose between the two, irregardless of party. I think when it hits people personally, I think it supersedes the party. When it affects you, it's a whole different ball game. If you're one of the ones that work for the federal government and you were denied a paycheck for 2 months, your bills still were coming in. you still were required to show up for work because you're an essential worker. Those TSA people, I think that the ones now that stopped showing up is because most Americans only live from paycheck to paycheck. It had gotten to the point they didn't have money to get to work. They fill their car up with gas. And then you expect me, now this is what happens with government workers. When you show up and half the people that's supposed to come to work don't come, guess who has to pick up their slack? It's the people that showed up. So now you're not getting paid, but now they need you to work overtime because Joe didn't come to work, and Sally didn't come to work, Hakeem didn't come to work, all these different people didn't come to work. So now you show up. So now they put all that weight on your shoulders. And then not working 8 hours, and mind you, you didn't have money for lunch. But now they're saying, do you think that you could stay and work a couple more hours? You know, even though we can't pay you right now for the last 6 weeks, but can you work this overtime? Is the government going to pay back overtime? Or are they just going to pay back flat 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week? Because if you had a government job, you know how this works. I know how this works. Are you going to get paid? So like when you go to work, you had to work 14 hours that day because your co-workers aren't showing up. Not because it's their fault, is that they don't have money to pay. You know that when people go to work, they got their kids in daycare. So the daycare doesn't care that the government is shut down. If you cannot pay your daycare, your child loses their spot. Daycares want to get paid by the week. Daycares cost almost as much as your salary going to work to pay daycare. So some of them probably lost their daycare. And even though they can go back to work, now they don't have anyone that could watch their kids because daycare is not going to watch your kids for free. They're not going to do it. These are facts. This is real life. So you have to be able to hold that spot. So they couldn't pay daycare. They're supposed to go to work. You know how much it costs to take care of a baby and for formula? And they're unable to make those purchases? These are real life situations that have taken place. That's why I know the government has to open back up because people are at the point that they can't do it another day. And even when they do open back up, they're saying that it's not going to even be implemented right away. They're not even going to receive benefits right away. And because the holidays are coming up shortly, you know, you have all these canceled flights, and it's still going to take time for them to get everything back to normal. And guess what? It's only going to last until January the 30th, and we're going to revisit all this all over again. And they're saying the only reason why the government opened back up, it wasn't because of food insecurities that 42 million people are hungry and they can't feed their kids. It's because of the flights. Now, these are during the holiday times, and people want to travel. People, you know, so they want to get the airports and the planes flying out. But they're saying January the 30th, there are no holidays. So we think that 8 weeks was a long time for a shutdown. Then what do we think is going to happen next year? We don't want to start 2026 like that. So we need to be getting in contact, whether you voted for your Republican representative or your Democratic representative, who's ever in your community. You need to call them and tell them that you want them to work out this healthcare issue, that you do not want the government to close down. Now that we are aware of what's going on, that's when people have to make demands. They feel like, oh, we could do this again. They're already saying this. Do y'all understand they're already saying this? They're already saying it. They said they're going to put the health care up in 2 more weeks in December. It's going to fail because the Republicans are not going to go for it. And nobody else is, they're not putting anything else on the table. So they're already planning on doing this all over again. But we need to put our foot down on this. We need to say enough is enough. Y'all not going to keep taking Americans through this when we're the richest country in the world. We help other countries. We take care of all these non-citizens. We're doing all these things. They was even on our health care. And now y'all telling us that this is supposed to be better for us. You know, the nightmare is supposed to be over from the previous administration, who focus wasn't on American citizens. It was focused on illegal immigrants that's who they care about. They didn't care about everyday American citizens and the high inflation, the high cost of eggs, the interest rates. People couldn't buy houses. They didn't care about what was happening to everyday Americans. So when Trump came into office, everyone's like, okay, we're going to have relief because he's a businessman. He knows how to handle the government. So we have higher expectations for Trump. There are high expectations because he ran on we wouldn't have a problem with health care. He ran on that he would reduce price. He ran on these things. He ran on more jobs, all these things. And people are waiting for these things to happen. But one thing that we're not going to go for with these elected officials is don't allow them to take us back through this. And we don't want to go through people not showing up for work. We don't want the Republicans or the Democrats to decide if they don't go along with us. What if the Democrats now decide we're not going to show up to the House for 9 weeks? So this is going to be a contest. Maybe both parties or neither parties are going to go to work. We have to make demands because they can do that. Everybody see the game now. So it's up to us to demand more from our elected officials. Don't sit back and allow this to happen. Even if you don't suffer from food insecurity, if you have health care, hope to God your premiums don't triple or quadruple like they say that's happening. Hopefully, you're not going to get pushed out of your health care, that you can't afford it. They said if they don't approve the Affordable Care Act, then 22 million people are going to lose health care. Hospitals are going to close, nursing homes. Your vets are not going to get the treatment. The disabled, seniors, it's going to affect so many people in such a negative way. We didn't sign up for this. We signed up for a thriving, striving America. That's what we signed up for. And we expect better. And this is like, we're going to listen to this channel. We try to look at both sides. We went to Fox News, then we go to NBC. We look at both sides, what the Republicans have to say, what the Democrats have to say, and then we give our opinions because we have both on this channel. We have Republicans and we have Democrats and we have non-voters and we have non-citizens. We have people from around the world. So we try to incorporate both sides, and then we could look at it fairly, not emotionally. Look at it fairly, like what's best for your family, what's best for you. So this is what Hakeem Jeffries, we're gonna put him on to see the Democrats. They were on the steps of Washington, and we're gonna react to it and see what he has to say about the shutdown and what's going to follow, what's going to happen.
The American people. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. It's a high honor and a distinct privilege to be joined today by Whip Catherine Clark, Caucus Chair Pete Aguilar, members of House Democratic leadership, and the House Democratic Caucus. House Democrats are here on the Capitol steps to reiterate our strong opposition to this spending bill because it fails to address the Republican health care crisis and it fails to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credit. House Democrats will continue to support our men and women in uniform. We will continue to support hardworking federal employees. We will continue to support our law enforcement personnel. House Democrats will continue to support our air traffic controllers. We will continue to support our TSA agents. We will continue to support our civil servants who have been under attack since day one of the Trump administration. But we cannot support the Republican effort to gut the healthcare of the American people. Today, House Democrats will introduce legislation to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits for 3 years to make sure that tens of millions of Americans don't experience dramatically increased premiums, co-pays, and deductibles. We believe that working class Americans, middle class Americans, and everyday Americans deserve the same level of certainty that Republicans always provide to the wealthy, the well-off, and the well-connected. The same level of certainty. And so we're calling upon our Republican colleagues to join us and extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits. And we will be working hard today, tomorrow, and throughout the balance of this year to make sure that those Affordable Care Act tax credits are extended. Now, Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the presidency. They own the mess that has been created in the United States of America. They own it. In a few hours, we will convene on the House floor. And our message to the American people is no matter what happens on the floor later on today, our promise to you remains the same. House Democrats will continue to fight to make your life more affordable. House Democrats will continue the fight to address the Republican health care crisis, and House Democrats will fight to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits. This fight is not over. We're just getting started.
Oh, no.
We're just getting started. Now, among the many outrageous things that has been said during the Trump Republican shutdown, or done during the Trump Republican shutdown, the longest shutdown in American history, is that Donald Trump made the stunning claim that in his mind, he holds two titles, that he has two positions. Donald Trump says that he's both the president and the Speaker of the House. That's what Donald Trump said in the midst of him shutting down the government. And what we've seen from compliant, sycophantic Republicans, corrupt House Republicans, is they continue to go along to get along. They don't function like a separate and co-equal branch of government. From the very beginning of this presidency and all the way through this Trump shutdown, Republicans in the House have continued to act like a wholly owned subsidiary of the corrupt Trump cartel. That may be the House Republican position. For damn sure, it ain't the House Democratic position. Because we know, and what we say to the American people is that we don't work for Donald Trump. We don't work for J.D. Vance. We don't work for your billionaire donors. We work for the American people. And that's what this fight by House Democrats, joined by our colleagues on the other side of the Capitol, has been all about. We work for the American people.
Yeah.
As we stand on the Capitol steps, ready to continue this battle on the House floor, a battle that we waged week after week after week, and that will continue regardless of the outcome. We say to the American people that we know you deserve better. You deserve much better than the chaos, the cruelty, and the corruption that you've seen. And so as House Democrats, we're going to continue this fight to lower the high cost of living in a country where America is far too expensive, far too many people struggling to live paycheck to paycheck, can't thrive, and can barely survive.
Oh, wow.
That should not be the case in the United States of America, the wealthiest country in the history of the world. And so as Democrats, we're committed to addressing this affordability crisis. That's what this fight has been all about. And we'll continue to work hard to lower the high cost of living. We'll continue the fight to fix our broken healthcare system. And we'll continue to fight to stand up for Medicaid. We'll continue to fight to stand up for Medicare. We'll continue the fight to stand up for the Affordable Care Act and an extension of the tax credits. We'll continue to fight for your hospitals. We'll continue to fight for your nursing homes. We'll continue to fight for your community-based health clinics, and we'll continue to fight for the principle that in this great country, the wealthiest country in the history of the world, healthcare can't simply be a privilege available only to the wealthy, the well-off, and the well-connected. Healthcare must be a right available to every single American. And that's the fight that House Democrats will continue to wage for the American people. It's now my great honor to yield to a freshman leadership representative, someone who's gotten off to a great start, helping to lead the freshman.
I don't know. Now, that's listening to one side, because we have two parties really that's running this country. It's the Republicans and Democrats. So that's House Leader Hakeem Jeffries, just in case some people that's on here don't know who he is. But he's the head of the Democratic Party as far as the House. Now, Mike Johnson, of course, we're going to listen to Mike Johnson because we're equal opportunities here. That we want to make sure we hear from our Republican representatives as well. So we want to hear from Mike Johnson. I want to find a longer one with Mike Johnson and what he has to say about the shutdown and like his sentiments on and how he feels about what's happening. So let me just go to one. Like he said that the fear of the shutdown was never about health care. So this is sentiments, but we're going to find more on Mike Johnson. And we want to hear from our House, Speaker of the House, and see his take on it. That was the Democrats' take.
Is the only one advancing common sense reform solutions, because we've proven it. We did that in the big beautiful bill, the Working Families Tax Credit. We took a look at Medicaid, and we took on that challenge. We took action to reduce fraud, waste, and abuse in Medicaid. We got able-bodied young men without dependents off the program. We got illegal aliens off the program, and we saved $185 billion just to start. We got millions of ineligible enrollees off the program. This is about fear. And what is the fear? The resolution on the COVID-era Obamacare subsidy issue was always going to be slated for debate in October, November, and December. Everybody knows that, and every Democrat knows that. It's an issue that's too complex to be solved on a short-term funding measure like a CR. They know that very well. This is about fear. Everybody in the country is watching the elections that will happen tomorrow. You got big elections in New Jersey and Virginia, and the governor's races and attorney general's races, etc. But all the attention is focused primarily on New York City. Why? Because the fear that Mamdani and all that he represents will be risen to power, that he'll be elected the mayor of America's largest city, the once cradle of capitalism, that we're going to have a Marxist, a communist running the largest city. Now this terrifies the establishment old guard Democrats in Washington. And the leaders of both chambers are among those most terrified.
Wow. Mike Johnson, he don't hold back. It's so crazy, the things that's being said. He believes that it's like fear-mongering among the Democrats of why the government is shut down. But it's a lot more than that. Here he is. He's apologizing to, I guess, the American people for the shutdown.
I just want to apologize to any Americans who are out there who still have flight cancellations or delays today. I want to apologize to the many American families who were made to go hungry over the last several weeks, our troops and other federal employees who are wondering where their next paycheck would come from. All of that's on the Democrats. Just never forget, they voted 15 times between the House and the Senate to close your government. And the Republicans tried every single day of the shutdown to open it. And we voted 15 times to do that. They have a lot to answer for. And I just want to say that we're very optimistic about the vote tally tonight. We think this is going to happen. And we're sorry that it took this long. So Republicans are going to deliver for the people. We're ready to get back to our legislative agenda. We have a very aggressive calendar for the remainder of this year. There'll be some long days and nights here, some long working weeks, but we will get this thing back on track. So thank y'all. Stay tuned for more tonight.
I don't know. They haven't been taking questions today. Like, people have been trying to get some questions answered, but they haven't been forthcoming. But a lot is going to go on tonight. I believe that if the government isn't reopened, it's going to be a major problem in the country. I think you're going to have so many people that's going to be so outraged that people at this point, they don't want to hear any excuses why the government is not opening up. I think people are at wit's end at this point, and a lot of people, they know people that are actually going through the suffering of the shutdown. It might not be happening to you, but you might know someone that's suffering from food insecurities, a federal worker that's not receiving a paycheck, that they're asking friends, family to help them because they don't see a way out of this. So there's a lot of people right now that really need the government to open back up. And I've spoken to some other people that they were saying that we're still receiving a paycheck. If they don't open back up now, then they're going to join the people that's not getting paid. So they're not going to be able to pay their rent. And so it's going to increase with more and more people that's going through the ills of this government shutdown. And it's easy to wait it out if it's not affecting you. It's not until it becomes personal, that's when it's a problem. That's when it's a problem for everyone, when it becomes personal. So I don't know. I think that some of the people that committed yesterday out of the 8, I think I don't know if they're going to have the numbers. I really feel like they're going to be talked out of this. You know, this showdown, hopefully it ends tonight, because that was our title, shutdown, showdown. You know, will it end tonight? And the way that it's appearing, I don't know. What do you think, Elijah? Do you think they're going to open back up this government? Or is it going to continue?
It's going to continue. Because they're at odds, you know, there's no middleman. They never
no mediator. Who's the mediator to bring the parties together? They're not feeling the pain of their constituents because they're getting paid. They're not suffering food insecurities. So unless you are experiencing what's happening, then it doesn't mean anything to you.
Senate Democrats had chance after chance to end it, but instead they chose to prolong the pain. That is not leadership, that's hypocrisy. It was never about budgets or priorities, it was about power. It's not about turning government on, for them it's about turning government into performance, where the people paying the highest price are the ones furthest from Washington. For more than 40 days, families were used as political pawns and props, while those responsible stood in front of cameras pretending to solve the crisis that they created. I actually saw a member from my home state stand at a food bank, decry the fact that nutritional assistance was in question, then swear up and down that they would vote against ending this shutdown. That is the epitome of hypocrisy, and the American people deserve better than that. House Republicans did our job. We passed a clean continuing resolution weeks ago. The same kind of straightforward measure that should have been agreed to immediately to keep this government open. But Senate Democrats blocked that 14 times, prolonging this shutdown just to score points to their woke, angry mob. This measure before us today is the same bipartisan framework they could have passed 40 days ago. The only thing that has changed is the political calendar. So, Mr. Speaker, I urge my colleagues to support the rule, stand with the American people, the families of veterans and public servants who have carried the burden of this shutdown, and let's reopen our government, and let's get this country moving again. And I yield back, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman from Massachusetts.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to insert into the record an article from ABC News entitled, "Inflation Climbs to the Highest Level Since January, Beef Prices Soar."
Without objection.
I request unanimous consent to insert into the record an article from the Washington Post entitled, from groceries to gas, Americans say they're spending more under Trump.
Without objection.
I ask unanimous consent to insert into the record an article from the New Republic entitled, "No, You're Wrong, Trump Spirals When Pressed on Rising Food Prices."
Without objection.
I ask unanimous consent to insert into the record an article from the New Republic entitled, "Trump Admits He Doesn't Care About Affordability as Economy Plunges."
Without objection.
I ask unanimous consent to insert into the record an article from MSNBC entitled, "Not a Big Issue, Republicans Shrug as Consumers Confront Healthcare Sticker Shock."
Without objection.
I ask unanimous consent to insert into the record an opinion article published in MSNBC entitled, "Trump's Argentina Bailout Once Again Puts America Last."
Without objection.
I ask unanimous consent to insert into the record an article from PBS entitled, "Trump Administration Working on Doubling Argentina Financing to $40 billion."
Without objection.
I ask unanimous consent to insert into the record an article from Forbes entitled, "Presidency Boosts Trump's Net Worth by $3 billion in a Year."
Without objection.
I ask unanimous consent to insert into the record an article from People.com entitled, "Donald Trump Hosts Great Gatsby-Themed Halloween Party as 40..."
There's a special place in Pennsylvania.
This is live. This is going on right now in the House prior to the votes. And I guess first we heard a Republican and now we're hearing, I assume, from a Democrat. I'm unfamiliar with this congressman, but he wants it to be put in record like all these different things. So they're still battling it out in the midst of the vote. So the vote is just not going to come forth easily because they're still making a case. And I don't know, because I think it's going to be prolonged because now that the Republicans are back, this is the first time they got to see them in 8 weeks, that now they're going to take advantage of, I don't know, now they're going to put everything on the floor. But at the end of the day, is the end game going to be opening up the government? That's really what I'm interested in. Are we going to open up the government? You know, are they going to vote to reopen up the government? Or are they going to, you know, have each of these speakers get up there and make their case to the ills of the government? You know, I really don't see at this point that makes a difference, because we're going to be put back in this same situation going back to January 2026. We're going to start the new year with this same situation if American people, if we don't step in and make demands on our government. We're not trying to continue to go through this bull crap. You know, we're tired of it. We are tired of it. They said sanctuary cities, looters devour LA mayor. You know, it's like all this stuff is going on in this country, and we have people that are looting and doing all kinds of stuff in our country, and they still don't know how to do right by the American people. They're worrying about Epstein, they're worrying about this, but worry about the children. The richest country, you know how many times I heard the richest country in the world? Then why are our American citizens being faced with these dilemmas? We're the richest country in the world. What does that mean if we're suffering like a third world country? What does it mean? And then, you know what I'm tired of hearing? I don't want to hear United States citizens being labeled as radical left, lunatics, low IQs. When we elect people to office, especially at the highest office, it's only one president at a time. He's president of all Americans, and regardless if you voted Republican, Democrat, if you was a non-voter, he is still our president. And if you don't like what's going on, make your voices heard. Pray for him. Pray for his administration. Do something. But labeling and dividing the country is not the way. Because guess what? Everybody's living next to each other. We're all blended. I have Republican neighbors, Democrat neighbors, non-voter neighbors. We're all together. But I might have a Democratic congressman. He still has to represent me. They can't separate that. So what happens to one happens to all of us. You can't separate us by gender, ethnicity, or whatever. What happens to one happens to all of us. food insecurities is not in one community. It's not in the black community, even though even CNN and they want to make black people the face of it, which is a lie from hell. But thank God for social media, because now the truth is coming out. They always want to make white people think that black people are doing that, they're doing better than black people. So the pain isn't as bad because at least I'm doing better than them, when we're not being the ones mostly affected. And besides, we're not used to depending on the government. We're resilient. How do you think we made it for 400 years? So they got to stop all this divide. It doesn't make any sense. They need to show the real deal. There's a lot of people in red states and MAGA that's being hit harder than people who voted for the Democrats. And they actually are fighting for you. How that's so ironic. But they have you so angry and you want to look at the party, but you're not looking at your circumstances, how it's personally affecting you. Standing with a party is not going to put food on your table. You have to make sure they're doing right by you, whomever's in office and whomever you voted for. If I didn't vote for the Democrats, but that don't mean I want people to go hungry. I don't want people being laid off. I don't want federal workers being fired. I don't want people losing their health care. I don't want my premiums to go up 3 times, 4 times. Nobody wants that.
It's like when people are in a party, it's like it becomes their identity.
Yeah, the party becomes their identity. That's a great point. Yeah, when they're in a party, the party becomes their identity. Yeah. They go along with the party even when the party is hurting their family, even when the party is not doing right by them, but it's about party instead of about their own personal needs. And, they put that over everything. As long as I feel like I'm above you, then I'm fine. Didn't President Johnson did a quote about that? As long as they feel like they're doing better than the black man, you could pick the pockets of white people, because as long as they have that illusion, that's even a false narrative. They want you to believe that. But the people of this country has to come together for principle and for what's right. No one right now in this supposedly richest country in the world should be going hungry. It's crazy. And these people, listen, they still fighting. I mean, how are they going to end this?
They fight about everything.
I forget his name. He's popular. They getting up one at a time. These people are never going to stop fighting. Are they going to open up the government?
Of legislator self-enrichment and plunder of the taxpayer, that not only did every single House Democrat oppose it in the Rules Committee last night, but multiple Republicans were denouncing it. That is, before they were summoned into a side room and instructed to vote for it, which they all proceeded to do. Now they're telling us, vote for it today, and they'll repeal it, well, maybe next week, or maybe the week after that, or maybe before Christmas, they'll repeal it. I've got a solution for you. If you don't like this corrupt provision, don't vote for it today. That will work.
Oh, Lord.
This is a great bill. A great bill, that is, if you think 8 Republican U.S. senators should have a right to collect at least $1 million in a jackpot bonanza payoff from the taxpayers simply because they were subject to the exact same rules all other Americans were subject to and are subject to now. And they don't propose to change those rules for anybody else, not for more than 300 million Americans, not for the members of the House of Representatives, not for governors and mayors, but for themselves. They want to deal themselves a special legal privilege in this Republican class war, Great Gatsby economy, where President Trump has made more than $3 billion since he reoccupied the White House, the federal building which he has proceeded to demolish in large part, where millions of Americans face losing their health care and their SNAP benefits. This provision is an affront.
I know this is not funny, but Trump is decorating. Trump went overseas and he met with the Prince of Saudi Arabia, and he saw how lavishly their palaces were and the marble floors and the curtains. He saw all the wealth, and he's into wealth. And he went to guitar and all. They had the horses. Everything was it was just on a whole nother level of wealth. And Trump looked at the White House. He said, this shabby building, he's not looking at it as historic. He's looking at this building is a dump, it's shabby. Nobody has done anything to fix it up. And he's embarrassed when the dignitaries come from other countries. He wants to be proud of the White House. He wants these other countries to gloat of how beautiful our White House is and how clean and nice Washington is. That's why he got rid of all the homeless people. He didn't care where they were shoving them out. He didn't care about that. He like, get them off the streets, get them out of here. And he wants to have this image because that's what he saw when he went to England with Prince Charles and them. That's royalty. They got horse-drawn carriages. He's looking at all of this wealth and lavish living style that the rest of the world has, and he goes back to the White House and he's like, he took a bulldozer to the East Wing. That was history. But Trump he's about image. He's a real estate guy. This is what he does. Trump don't put down marble floors, things he's paid for. He's building a $230 million or more ballroom. He's serious about that because when they come into town and they have these affairs, he wants it to be elegant. He wants it to be something to be proud of. Like the way that it was, there was no place for them. He said they would have to put a tent up. And then the women would have gowns and it would rain and they're getting muddy, their gowns and their shoes. And that's why he ripped up, I think that was the Rose Garden. Jackie Kennedy's garden, he ripped that up, or the part of East Wing, I think it was part of Jackie Kennedy had decorated that. But, so he's trying to bring it to, I guess, the 21st century. He wants to upgrade. He's upgrading. But no one thought he was going to take a bulldozer to it. So I was thinking like a wrecking ball. I just saw Trump doing Miley Cyrus. He on the wrecking ball like a wrecking ball and he's holding on it. But that would have been funny for SNL. But he just tore it down. But he wants to be proud. And he's a real estate guy. He's a builder. So you won't, the next president is not going to recognize the White House because Trump, now he has all the presidents. He has a wall. I saw it yesterday. He was with Laura from Fox News, and they were taking a walk that he has all the pictures now, which looks nice. He does have the gold. He loves gold frames. But when you walk on the side, it's every president, each of their pictures, except for Joe Biden's. He has an auto pen. You know how Trump is. He trolls people. But he has pictures of all the presidents, and he's going to put plaques underneath with who they were, their accomplishments and all of that. So he's upgrading, so this is who he is. He likes, so they impressed him. And this is Trump. But like what's going on now, they're going on and on. I had turned to see where they are and taking the votes. These people are still fussing. And I don't know if they're going to get to reopening the government, but they need to. I don't believe that the food banks and the food banks and the churches and all these different agencies that are trying to assist people in providing food for them, this is not a long-term solution. They only could do this or help as much as they can for just a period of time. So they need the government to reopen so that the people will get these SNAP benefits, because as of right now, they can't do it. It's bad. But nobody really cares enough about the people, and the people are going to have to be actively taking charge and actively making demands on your government. Y'all know they're going to shut this government down again January the 30th. So I gave you the date. They will shut it down again. If they're going to shut it down again, they're still convening. House convenes for funding bill vote to end shutdown. These people are still arguing. I know. They still arguing on the floor. They still fussing. What do you guys think? Do you guys think they're going to reopen the government? Yes or no? Are they going to reopen this government? Because this might be like, yes or no? Can you guys let me know? What do you think? Are they going to open this government up? Hello, wonderful woman. Thank you so much. Kathy, thank you. Yes, you do think so? Like, I was really pumped up, but like looking at them still on the floor, because they said that they were going to take the vote after they had sworn in. I don't know how to pronounce her name, and I'm not going to attempt it, but she's a Arizona representative, because I don't want to butcher her name. And they said they were going to do it then, and they are still fighting and fussing at this point. So, and what they're going to do, Trump is going to have a dinner tonight. He's going to host a dinner, private dinner at the White House. So they're saying that tonight they're hoping at the dinner that they'll present that to President Trump, and then he's going to sign it into law, that he's going to sign it. But if they're still fussing, this is supposed to be like, probably, I think the dinner's probably going to be around 8 or 9 o'clock. If he does sign the bill, we will come back on. I'm trying to catch the live count, but I don't know if they're any closer, you guys. I'm looking at, they still fussing. They are still literally fussing. You want to see it? Yeah. They still going at it. All these senators and stuff. I mean, and then they get up there. I think I don't know if they're a time limit. I know usually it's like a 5-minute time limit. So I don't know if they're timing them. And hopefully nobody's going to try to do a filibuster. They're just going to talk for 18 hours to prolong it.
They want someone to yell. They should have Bernie up there.
Yeah, I would love to catch Bernie up there.
If they were serious about tackling the healthcare affordability crisis in this country, then they would address the fundamental problem with Obamacare. Since Obamacare took effect, healthcare premiums have risen by 96%, and on the open market by 114%. When I asked Leader Jeffries to sign on to the 1-year extension of the premium tax credit, he refused. He stuttered, he stammered, he couldn't answer a single question. Because this shutdown was never about health care. It was always about appeasing a far-left radical base. Chuck Schumer said, every day gets better for us. Catherine Clark said, of course people will suffer. We want to use this as leverage. It is an embarrassment to this country. You should all be ashamed of yourselves for inflicting this pain on the American people.
This is live.
Taking away food stamps from 42 million Americans, defunding WIC, not paying our troops, our federal employees, our air traffic controllers. It's a disgrace, and you should all hang your heads in shame.
And it's going to happen again January the 30th.
Vote yes to pass the bill and reopen the government.
See, they still haven't voted.
Let me remind my colleagues. I fully recognize that there's a lot of pent-up anxiety, and emotions have been elevated somewhat. But
in
please,
God we trust.
in the interest of the decorum of this House, to direct your comments to the chair and do not engage in personalities toward the Senate, toward the President, and others. Gentleman from Massachusetts with 14 1/2 minutes remaining.
Yeah, well, Mr. Speaker, let me just say the gentleman from New York sounds as extreme as his voting record. And I'd like to say to the gentleman who just spoke, by supporting this bill, he's betraying 7,000 constituents in his district who rely on the ACA to afford their health care. Boy, I'm glad he's not my representative. At this time, I'd like to yield 1 minute to the gentleman from New York, Mr. Kennedy.
Gentleman from New York is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, as the representative of Western New York, where so many people in my community, like others across the country, are already struggling to afford health care, I urge my colleagues to reject this disgraceful bill. As an occupational therapist, I know exactly who these cuts will hurt. I've heard from so many who are desperate for a lifeline, like Iris, a mom in Buffalo who's worried about how she'll keep her kids' health insurance, or Andy, a nursing home resident in Tonawanda who relies on Medicaid to get the services he needs, or the kids at Born Hava, a special needs school where I provided therapy, who depend on early intervention services. Donald Trump and congressional Republicans began their assault on the people of our country in the big ugly bill. This bill further devastates healthcare and leaves millions of Americans to pray they don't get sick. Shame on anyone who goes along with it. This country deserves better. I'll be voting no, and I urge all of my colleagues to do the same. I yield back.
Gentlelady from Minnesota.
Reserve.
Reserves. Gentleman from Massachusetts.
Mr. Speaker, some big news and breaking news in the last hour. I'm proud to say that our newest colleague, Representative Adelita Grijalva, just became the 218th signature on the Massey Kana discharge petition to compel the release of the Epstein files. And to all my Republican colleagues who refuse to sign on, time is up. You need to figure out where you stand on this because you're about to go on record. Is your loyalty to Trump more important than going after pedophiles? Because make no mistake, these files will come out. It is no longer a question of if, only when, and whether the White House chooses to stand with the survivors or throw them under the bus. And at this time, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to yield 1 minute to the gentlewoman from Oregon, Ms. Dexter.
Gentlelady from Oregon is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today in strong opposition to this rule and the underlying bill. As a physician who spent 20 years saving lives, I did not come to Congress to let healthcare be decimated by Congress. I came to fight for my constituents who deserve to be able to see a doctor they trust, afford their medication, and keep their families healthy. If House Republicans let the ACA tax credits expire, they are complicit in forcing Oregonians to make impossible choices, like whether to keep their insurance or put food on the table. As a physician, I know what comes next. People go without and they skip refills. They get sicker, and sometimes they end up in medical debt that is devastating. The cost of living is already too damn high. Republicans are committed to cutting your care. They patently rejected amendments to protect Americans, ignoring millions of American families who are desperate for relief. I will be an absolute no on the rule and the underlying bill, and I refuse to give up on ensuring affordable health care for all. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield back.
Gentlelady from Minnesota.
Mr. Speaker, I just wanted to say just really quickly, the ranking member mentioned the discharge petition, and he's very proud that it has 218 signatures, but not that long ago, today we had a UC that would have moved that along, would have moved that resolution along over to the Senate, and I believe the Democrats objected to it. So it seems more like a political stunt than it does that they actually wanted to have that resolution moved along, because if they had not objected, it would have gone on its way and they would have accomplished what they wanted to do. So I don't see their real desire to have the resolution passed. I see it more of, like I said, a political stunt. And it certainly is actually a moot point, given that oversight is already releasing many of those files. As a matter of fact, I believe they've done tens of thousands of them, but I believe this morning they did another 20,000 files. So they are being released, and this all seems for naught. But with that, Mr. Speaker, I would like to yield 1 minute to the gentleman from California.
Gentleman from California is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, Jimmy Fallon offered Democrats this pro tip. If you're going to call it the Republican shutdown, you're not supposed to get mad that it's ending. Anyone who remembers their schoolhouse rock knows that once the House originates an appropriation, the Senate must either amend it or pass it. Now, the House did its job on September the 19th with a simple appropriation that made no policy changes. It merely kept the government operating at current levels while we finished debating priorities. Democrats deliberately blocked the Senate from acting, demanding $1.5 trillion of new spending as a ransom. Finally, thank God, 8 of them put country ahead of party and voted to end this madness. Now, hearing the bitter recriminations from our leftist colleagues, it seems unlikely we'll see much bipartisanship today. But with or without them, we will reopen the government tonight and get back to addressing the challenges that confront our country. I yield back.
Gentleman from Massachusetts with 11 minutes remaining on his side, 9 minutes on the majority side.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I'm surprised the gentlelady brought up the UC request, but I'm glad she did because I want the record to be clear. I didn't hear any objection on the floor. The Republican chair basically ruled it as an improper UC request, and so that is why it didn't move forward. And but I do know this because I'm on the Rules Committee. And I do know the gentlelady time and time and time and time again voted against releasing the Epstein files. And I know my Republican friends are hoping that they don't have to go on record because they don't want to get Trump upset at them. But the bottom line is every single Republican will go on record, and you will have to make clear whether you're on the side of a pedophile or whether you're on the side of the victims.
Gentleman from Massachusetts is reminded to direct his comments to the chair, please.
Thank
You may continue.
You have 1 minute. The gentlewoman from Washington, Ms. Jayapal.
Gentlelady from Washington is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to oppose this bill that allows health insurance premiums for 22 million American families to skyrocket and raises healthcare costs for everyone. Trump and his Republican cult of followers in Congress have unleashed shameful crisis of cruelty and corruption on the American people. First, they slashed Medicaid by $1 trillion, kicked 15 million Americans off of health care, set up the playboard for rural hospitals to shutter, all so that you could give $7 trillion in permanent tax breaks to their billionaire buddies. Then they refused to negotiate with Democrats to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits so that 22 million Americans wouldn't have to choose between health care and rent. And when we refused to go along with that, they caused this 45-day Republican shutdown, illegally refused to pay SNAP benefits for the hungry, and illegally canceled flights, throwing the country into chaos. Trump and Republicans want to make you poorer and sicker. While Trump builds his gilded ballrooms, protects pedophiles, pardons those who buy his meme coins, and lets Americans starve. Shame on you. I'm a hell no on this bill.
Gentlelady from Minnesota.
Boy, I tell you, they got to stop all this name calling. They're not getting anything done. They're too emotional.
Yeah.
You know, like calling Trump voters a cult. Trump voters are a cult. Then the Republicans call the left, radical left, leftists, low IQ, lunatic left. We got to stop. That's not impressing us as Americans. I mean, all the name calling
It's causing a divide.
Yeah, it's causing a divide. And then people, instead of looking at the issues, they start picking up the terminologies and then they start calling each other. Oh, that's the lunatic leftist talking. Oh, that's Trump's cult. You know, no matter what, MAGA, they're going to do whatever he say, that whatever Trump say, because he's the king, and like they can't think for themselves. You know, they gotta we gotta stop it. You know, they all emotional, but now we gotta wait. Well, we might do, because I can't take 30 more minutes of them fussing at each other. I thought they were going to, after the swearing in, I thought that they were going to bring it to a vote at that point, because they already had to test the voting, and they supposedly have the 8 votes that they need for it to pass, but they're still having arguments.
Jack said he wants more name calling.
Oh, you do? You want more name calling? Yeah. So I don't know. What do you guys want to do? You want us to come down and come back up when they're actually going to take the vote? Or do y'all want to hear more of them going at it, or us just having conversation? It's up to you guys, because I was just going to take it down and just do another live, come back on in like 20 minutes or whatever, because they still fussing.
Jack said he wants to be a moderator.
Oh, you want to be a moderator? I don't know, Jack. I'm thinking about it, but I'm going to have you on the show. I just need Elijah to bring you guys on. Yeah, to bring them on so we could do a live show with them. Huh? And yeah, we're going to have Mr. Booski on. We're going to, yes, but y'all got to be civil, because, you know, everybody be fighting, but we're not going to get anything done like that. We don't have to shut y'all down and then get other people. But yeah, we think about making you a moderator, Jack. Yeah. So because we want 2 voices. We don't want it, but we don't want like Mr. Booski getting rid of all the Democrats and you getting rid of all the Republicans. We want both sides. Just how you and Mr. Booski go at it, that y'all are communicating and y'all making y'all points and y'all agreeing to disagree. That's what we want. But the conversation is to be had, and the conversations are going on. So we might test you out. What you say, Mr. Booski? Should we make Jack a moderator? Don't get rid of. Oh, he said he don't get rid of anybody. No, I wasn't saying. I'm saying that we don't want that happening. The Mr. Booski.
Should I do a poll asking should we make Jack a moderator?
Nah, I don't make Jack a moderator. No, what I was saying, no, I was just using that example because you two are on different sides. You know, you're the Republican, he's the Democrat, and we don't want like when people are going against what you guys believe in that, oh, you gotta go, because people, you got trolls on here, they're gonna be saying all kinds of things, but that makes the show. We can't have everybody agreeing, huh?
Jack said Mr. Booski's power hungry. Booski said no.
See, that's what I told y'all. I'll tell you, well, we're gonna even the playing field because we're gonna bring both of you guys on. Make him a moderator. Right. We'll test Jack out. See how he does, if we can keep it like that. So, but make him one.
Make him like the top moderator, or just
a stand.
I'm just joking.
You're that controller. Okay, I'm making that happen.
All right, you're a moderator now, Jack.
Okay, Jack. Testing.
Now, Mr. Booski said, I honestly can't stand Jack.
Oh, God. This is only a test. I don't know if Indoor's on here, but we want to bring you two on. We're going to have Elijah, like in one of our probably next couple of shows, because YouTube has redone everything as far as the lives and everything. So we're still learning some of the new rules. They're changing it. It's not the same. So it's a new YouTube at this point.
Yeah.
They wanted to be more like Netflix, like television and stuff like that. Because initially it was supposed to be more like TikTok and Instagram, Twitter, that's now known as X or whatever. But they see that YouTube is moving more people beginning to watch it like on their live stream, but they're watching their televisions more. So they feel like it's moving into another category. So they changed it. And it kind of, to me, hurt live streams. Yeah, it hurt live streams the way that they're doing it now. But I don't know if they'll go back to it. Meanwhile, we just got to roll with it. And it doesn't stop us from speaking out. But I want them to be put on. We'll find this show. And give us some suggestions of shows or topics that you guys would like to do. Because when we bring you on, like we do non-script, but we wonder like what subject matter, do you guys want to come on this show and join Elijah and I? Huh?
We're going to have two mods now having a debate.
It's okay. Okay, so if you guys have any ideas, y'all can, my email should be, is my email in, you didn't have it in the description. Did you put it in there? No. And my Instagram.
It's in the bio. The Instagram's in the description.
Why didn't you put it in this one? Or tell them to go to, I keep telling them to go to Speak the Truth 2.0 on Instagram, but we haven't even really been using that, but I need their email so then they can be added on a live. Yeah, so anyway, we're going to test it out. We might try to test it out, bring one of you guys on and see how that works. And then, because we haven't used the system yet, but we want to give us a topic, or you can leave us a comment after the live and just give us like a topic that you two are interested in doing, and we'll read it and see what you like doing, or you just want to join in on one of our topics and we just bring you guys on. Because we want to have a good show, but we want a category that,
Okay, the Instagram's in it now.
Okay. Or they could even just leave a comment. Yep. I honor, and I are now co-workers. Oh, yeah, y'all co-workers now. Oh, you don't have an Instagram? Well, that's okay. Just leave us a comment for what you want the show to be about. Like after the live goes down, you could always leave a comment. And then I'll read the comment and I'll respond to your comment. We could talk in the comments. I can't do it on the live, but you could leave a comment and you can give ideas what something that you guys are interested in. But in order to bring you on live, I have to send you a link to your email. So I'm gonna need an email you guys, to send you the link to bring you on the show. So that's how people come on shows. We have to send you a link. So that's the direction we want to take the show in. So I having guests and maybe have a panel of guests, and we do, different topics, and we give our viewpoints in a clear, concise manner, not getting too sensitive and emotional, but making a point notes, because it's going to be people watching us, listening to us, and some agree, some might agree with Jack, some might agree with Mr. Busky, and back and forth. I know he said he can't wait till he can say his name to us. But anyway, you guys.
Not trying to.
Oh yeah. So that's gonna be like hopefully within the next couple of lives or whatever that we do, the next few ones, probably one day, maybe next week, we're gonna bring you guys on and see how y'all fare, how y'all do, on a live stream, because there's a difference when you actually, have voice and you can, go at it. So. And then y'all can introduce yourselves and we can actually see you guys. So that's going to be cool.
Not trying to have it be like a hostile discussion. Just a civil debate. Agree to disagree,
Yeah. So we're going to putting it out. And what we're going to do is probably highlight the somewhat debate. We'll highlight it on the channel and send it out is what we'll do. So that's going to I haven't highlighted. That's one probably, show that I'll highlight. And we'll send it out.
We would call the biggest debate on YouTube.
Yeah, the biggest debate on YouTube. So yeah, we'll highlight it. We'll push it out, and that'll be the beginning, and see how it goes. They just had Al Green on here.
Yeah, I saw him.
Yeah, I was wondering what he was talking about. Here go AOC.
Oh crap.
It is great. It is great that Democrats have a line of people who are willing to fight for working class Americans from coast to coast in this country. Because God forbid that we have a member of the Republican caucus who stands up and actually wants to extend the Affordable Care Act so that people with cancer, insulin, and issues across all sorts of healthcare issues across this country have their health insurance protected and extended throughout 2026. It is unconscionable that what we are debating right now is legislation that will give 8 members of the United States Senate over $1 million apiece. And we are robbing people of their food assistance and of their health care to pay for it. How is this even on the floor? How can we as members of Congress, Republican or Democrat, vote to enrich ourselves by stealing from the American people? That is what this legislation does. In fact, Senator Graham just went before the press earlier today saying he was going to seek well over $1 million from the American people from this. We cannot support it and we cannot stand for it. Thank you.
Gentleman's time expired. Young lady from Minnesota.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I just wanted to point out to some of my colleagues that, the Democrat government shutdown stopped the SNAP benefit. So if they were very concerned about those, about making sure that people had their nutritional assistance, they wouldn't have shut down the government, because that is what caused it. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I yield 1 minute to the gentleman from Texas.
Gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It was great to hear from the new leader of the Democrat Party, Mrs. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Unfortunately, we didn't also get to hear from their other leader, Mr. Zoran Mamdani. Mr. Speaker, I'm going to be proud this evening to vote to reopen the federal government.
That should be in order.
Mr. Speaker, for 40 days, the Democrats shut our government down to pursue unrealistic policy proposals that they know the American people do not want. Mr. Speaker, the American people do not want health care for illegal aliens. They do not want our tax dollars funding left-wing media outlets, and they do not want to drive up our debt $1.5 trillion as part of a short-term continuing resolution. Mr. Speaker, the last 40 days have been nothing but pure political nihilism, and I'm glad that this nightmare is over so that we can get back to work on behalf of the American people. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Was that Superman?
Gentleman from Massachusetts.
He looked like Superman. Wow, he
Gentleman
came
from
in.
Massachusetts.
Talk about Madani.
I reserve.
Gentleman reserves his time. Gentlelady from Minnesota.
Reserve.
Reserves. Who seeks time?
Come on, y'all.
Let me first of all just say to the gentlelady, this is Republican shutdown. It didn't need to happen. All you need to do is extend the ACA tax credit so that people wouldn't get screwed on their health insurance bills. But I also point out to her that the President of the United States illegally withheld SNAP benefits.
Wow. Here we go again. These people, they're gonna make their points. Well, did you see what Superman was saying?
Yeah, what did he say about Madani, Clark Kent?
No, I don't know, but he was talking about Madani, your new leader of the day. He not here. He was like going in on him. They didn't like that. They was reacting to that. That was crazy. That was crazy. I really would have started this over.
President do? He decides he doesn't have the money for the American people. He's going to starve the American people to give $40 billion to the corrupt libertarian leader in Argentina. $9 billion would have fed the American people. How is that America first? And then he says, I don't care about the cab driver who's paying $2,600 now per month in health insurance, as opposed to $44. Because I don't want to save the 20 million Americans who are going to face high premium increases. How is that America first? We need national health insurance in this country. We need to tax billionaires in this country. We need to fund SNAP in this country, and we need to stop funding Argentina and corrupt foreign leaders.
Gentlelady from Minnesota.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I just wanted to address for just a second the healthcare issue that the Democrats continue to bring up and act like this had anything to do with everyone in the country's premiums. Because we are talking about the COVID era Affordable Care Act's COVID era subsidies. So this is not what is affecting other people's premiums, other than those folks that qualify for those COVID era premium subsidies. That's it. They continue to make it sound like this is responsible for every kind of increase that people are seeing. And so the Affordable Care Act's original subsidies will remain in place. So that's the original subsidies, ensuring that millions still qualify for the income-based tax credits and capping out-of-pocket costs relative to income. It's the COVID era. I can't say that enough. It is the COVID era subsidies that are in question here. Premium increases are actually driven by multiple factors, including medical inflation, provider consolidation, and rising drug costs. But to actually reduce premiums, that's what we must address. And we must have comprehensive discussions about that, not just political theater and sound bites. We have to actually sit down and have those discussions, and that's what getting the government back open will do. I reserve.
Gentlelady reserves her time. Gentleman from Massachusetts.
Mr. Speaker, the ACA polls at 65%. Donald Trump is at 37%. I know he...
Okay, I'm just tired of these people fussing. It's like, it's draining listening to them just continue. What we're gonna do, because it's not usually not even sending the people here at this point. It's just like stagnated. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna cool down and come back up to get the votes, because these people are still fighting. We do not want to miss the count, but they are still fighting, and they are still at, how are we back here? Everybody's waiting for this count all over the internet.
Did that one guy vote? The Clark Kent guy?
No, they're going to tally up all their votes at the end. Right now, you have people still making their arguments is what's going on. So they're all still making their argument. Why he calls out Shallow? Oh, Shallow was there.
He's just goofing around.
No, Shallow is there. Look. Shallow, he calls out Shallow because Shador, we looking at for Shador got his first, we watch football. I got his first tattoo. This is Travis Hunter, my favorite player, Heisman winner from Colorado University, and now he's injured for the rest of the year, his rookie year. I wanted him to get Rookie of the Year. So what we're going to do, we're going to go down, we're just going to come down, and we're going to come back up. And like
that quarterback must have threw him a bad pass.
Something happened. Yeah, they talking about he had to have an operation on the LDL. Yeah. So who knows? Okay, you guys, we're gonna come down. We'll come back on for the count because this is just prolonged. I didn't think it would take this long. And Trump is supposed to have this dinner party. He's supposed to sign it. If he signs it, then we will try to do that. If not, then y'all will catch it tomorrow. Because they are still going at this and they're still fussing. I don't know if they were able to talk to the 8 that agreed to vote to open, because they need those Democrat votes in order to reopen the government.
But AOC said like a good point though.
Okay, because this is not going to do anything. Because what we can do is like we'll go down and come back up, and that'll just be a short at just actually showing the vote. Okay, you guys. Thank you, guys. We're going to come down and we're going to come back up. God bless you guys. Don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe. We thought that they would have been cast this vote. They wearing me out. So this shutdown, and we're going to repeat all this in January the 30th if we don't make demands on the government not to shut it down again. The people are going to have to speak up. If people want to protest, that's what they need to protest. No more government shutdowns. Work it out. All right, you guys, thank you to all our moderators. We're going to come down and we're going to try to come back up for the vote, but they're still